This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, CCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for product, and fowtcg.com for articles and wonderful deck lists. It's also brought to you by our guest lecturer patrons, Vite Ramen. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers! Welcome back after a long week of Forcible spoilers to your favorite ever live Forcible podcast with 2 weeks left till FowFest! It's office hours. I'm here as always, DMO73, and I'm joined as always by the lovely Mike Rance.
Wait, I got it.
Who's not going to be at FowFest apparently, which is very sad.
Unfortunately not. But I want you all to play Prego TK in my stead.
There you go. The challenge is still there. And Paul Reisman.
Making up for Mike's absence at FowFest.
It's true. You'll be seeing a lot of Paul because he'll be the main one commentating because I'm going to be running a tournament.
The
Jeremy,
TO
you do that.
drinking Dr. Pepper.
This is cherry vanilla Coke Zero. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Oh, gotcha. So it only has
What a fancy
two
boy.
flavors compared to the 23.
Yeah, compared to the 23,
of Dr.
for sure.
Pepper.
So, we have a lot to talk about here, but before we actually get into any of this stuff, there's a link in the description below that I really need to talk about. It is a brand new tool that was just released today by Fowl Library called Force of World. This is an amazingly cool new tool that they have developed over on Fowl Library. You can go actually plug in your, as a player, location. Please do not put your actual address. Just put like the town or the city that you're in, not your actual address. Don't share that with
dox
strangers.
yourself.
Correct. Don't dox yourself. Or you can actually register your LGS and you can plug in information about like what formats you play, any details about what nights of the week your LGS plays at, everything else, and it plugs into a worldwide searchable map that you can go and look for players in your area. You can go and look for stores in your area, stores where you're going to be going, everything else. It is a wonderful tool. I've already plugged in both Odyssey Games and myself. Go check it out. It's super easy. You definitely want to go check those out. Huge shout out to Fowl Library for making this tool. It is very, very, very cool. So, there you go. Just wanted to plug that real quick. Okay, so let's jump right in. This is the Black Triad. It's our first card. We got the last couple cards for Pink Spider, and then we're going to jump into our stuff. So, Black Triad, wall of text here. 3 black, 9/9. If your opponent has discarded 2 or more cards this turn, it gains a swiftness, precision, and first strike until end of turn. When this card destroys a J/Resonator your opponent controls, you can put it from the field back face down. And then you can pay 1 black to flip it face up to force your opponent to discard a card. Keep in mind that is instant speed discard. Important. And pay 3, you can flip it face down, up into face up, forcing your opponent to discard 2 cards, and then move it from your Shinobi area to the field. Which means that, oh hey, your opponent discarded 2 cards, meaning that this 9/9 suddenly has swiftness, precision, and first strike. And then can reset itself. Like, I didn't have good instant speed discard on a body on my Force of Will 2022 bingo card, but it's here. I like this card a lot. Oh, my microphone just went out.
I don't have anything else to say. I also can't hear Jeremy.
Yeah, I lost Jeremy for a second.
He's
there,
just
too.
gone.
I should be back now.
okay.
My microphone
Wait,
continues
he's
to
back
do
You
weird
might be
things.
back now.
So let's get something out of the way. This card feels like it should have been around when Lucifer was a thing.
Oh, jeez.
This was like the bomb that Lucifer deserved back in like early New Valhalla before everything broke. But you know, it's fine.
Certainly, maybe.
Outside of the whole
This
Shinobi
thing's
area
still solid,
thing.
though.
Yeah.
Just that first line of text would have been cool on a 2-drop for Lucifer back in the day. But
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, overall, this card just feels like, this feels like the pressure card that Ninja Spider was kind of lacking in terms of what we saw. Like, everything was just like, oh, this is cool utilitarian. This is a cool little normal rare. This is a cool, like, bread and butter kind of idea. Nothing too scary. But then, like, this is the card that it's like, she's going to set this, like, off the cuff, and then eventually she's going to get to the much will where this is going to start flipping every single turn, and you're going to rip your opponent's hands to shreds. Like I think this is where she's going to start applying pressure really well, especially because again, it's a will sync. Like you don't have to flip it if you don't want to, or you could even flip it for just one and then get that value out of it. Like the utility of it, I think, is the best part, and just that repeatable nature of a will sync that's also a body is very, very good. Just in general, I don't think there's really much else to say about Black Triad.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah,
card good.
Card good. Yes,
Card good.
Card
I
probably
agree.
too slow, but good.
I mean, maybe we'll see. Again, the fact that it's
depends on when you use it.
the fact that it's that you can instant speed set it face down. That's the biggest piece, right? And that's the biggest piece I think about the ninjutsus in general is they did this really weird retooling of like K1 let you set standbys for one, but you can only do it during your turn. But you could set as many cards as you wanted face down, right? Pink Spider kind of got like a trade-off of that where she only has to pay one to set things, but she gets limited number of slots, but she can set them at instant speed. So it's kind of like, again, that Stealth 2.0, that retooling, that re-experimentation, to the point where, is Black Triad probably the first card she's going to set? Probably not. But you get to like turn 3 and she's got like a little bit of will left over. She's going to burn it to set one face down and just set a Black Triad and just have that for later, right? And that's kind of the big piece, I think, that makes Black Triad something that I would consider even playing in the deck, is because it's just that, like, oh, I've got will, I'll sink it. That's totally fine. So that's my piece about Black Triad. Next up, we have Spider Breeding Ninja, just really leaning on the arachnophobia. So apologies for any arachnophobic players of Force of Will, because but
spiders are cute. Spiders are the best.
Yeah.
It says it right there in the flavor text.
Yeah, there you go.
Spider with droplet on head is cute, we'll admit. Everything else, burn it.
Water droplet, boop, or hat.
Okay, you can stay.
Yeah. So 1 white, 1 black, 6/7. Enter. Put 2 4/4 darkness spider resonator tokens into the field. Into the field. You can banish a spider resonator to do 200 damage to target player or J/resonator. If it does, you gain 200 life. Thank you for saying if it does. I'm really tired of these like random banish effects just having a period between life loss and life gain. It's really nice to just like have like, no, be successful in doing damage or don't do anything. That's a small thing. That's a small thing that I'm just really glad is there.
Just a little bit of balancing. This card is gonna be broken in draft. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, it turns out a 2-mana 14/15 sounds kind of good when you're in a limited format.
Yeah, for sure. She's gonna be a draft bomb, and she is a normal, so she's also gonna be everywhere. The
6/7 at quick cast speed that you could play and get an 11/11 for 2. This is it now. Do you feel old yet?
I think to me this card feels like it's playing to a more like a different aspect of Pink Spider than we have seen up to this point. Like the previous ones have seen like a utilitarian mid-range kind of thing. This feels to me like it's kind of a control-y sync kind of idea. Like don't get me wrong, it probably also could be used in a very heavy aggro build just because of the amount of damage that it can put on board in a single turn. But because it doesn't have anything to do with the ninjutsu area, because it doesn't have anything for being set face down, it feels very like tacked on, if that makes sense. So it would like force me to think in a different direction. Still very cool card though.
Or with Iga, you can make this card come in at quick cast speed with one less mana too.
That's true. You can use this Iga with this card. That's important to recognize.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, we also haven't seen. That's a good point. We haven't seen any SRs yet, have we? We've just seen normals, rares, and marvels.
Yeah, no SRs.
We haven't seen a single SR yet. The reveals have been so wacky this time, and I kind of like it because it makes me go like, oh, I don't know everything that's going to come out of this set. Like, it keeps me going for like the next time that we're going to see Pink Spider stuff coming around. Yeah, we have
our left tracker and right tracker going to be rares then?
Oh, that's
'Cause
true.
they
Well,
don't
they
feel
were
like
the
supers.
pre-release. So so they
But
should.
like, we're gonna get their set art, right?
So we'd get their set art supers, yeah, because they'll be super rares. So there we go.
Interesting.
Okay. Speaking of Marvel rares, let's talk about Rusty, who was like, I saw it and I was like, so this card was spoiled literally 10 minutes after I started talking at my locals about how I hadn't found a good character to do a new Fow cosplay of yet. And then this card was spoiled and I was like, Google listening. Google listening, spying on me. Because I do really like this card art. I'm a sucker for little foxes. Like,
Fox boy.
I don't hate it. Anyway, here's Rusty. 2 white, black, 1,000 with precision. On enter, destroy target J/resonator your opponent controls. If they destroyed a resonator this way, you may put it from its owner's graveyard into the field under your control. Keep in mind, this is all part of the single resolution. That's important to note. So it'll go to grave and then come to you, all part of one resolution. It's not a replacement effect, but also your opponent can't respond to you buying it there. Pay 1 white, flip this face down card face up. You gain 1,000 life, draw a card. Pay 1 black, flip this face down card face up. Destroy target J/resonator. This is what I call a well-designed Ninja Marvel.
Value.
This card is the epitome of utilitarian tempo ninja tool pressure. Like, this guy is so cool. I love it. I don't think it's over-tooled. I don't think it's over-tuned. Like, technically, to destroy something with this guy, technically is the same cost as, like, a 2-drop kill spell, right? Because it's pay 1 to set him face down, pay 1 to flip him face up. It can just be spread out over a couple of turns. So, like, I don't mind that in terms of cost for how much he could remove. The utilitarianness to be able to make him a life gain card. Like, I love this card.
Cantrips.
If you pay white and flip him face up.
Right.
He has the ability to potentially cantrip, right? I love this card so much.
Instant speed, cool, you played a thing. Well, before it goes to my turn, with Iga on field, just pay 2, kill it, steal it, thanks. Go to my turn, cool, they both have swiftness. Because the no 76 pseudo swiftness. Card is absolutely bonkers. I love this. This is my favorite card in the set so far.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah. This and like just in general, this feels just like it feels like a very focused Marvel rare, but like again, it's not so overtuned that I wouldn't consider potentially using this card in other ways too. Especially since the fact
you're
that
not going to hard cast this thing for 3 and use the first enter effect unless you're in draft.
Sure, but like even then, it's
Right.
it's or like find other ways to cheat this card, right? Other ways that are not ninjutsu to try to like mess with this card or something else like that, or like reanimate it or something. You know, like this is a card that I think has applications outside of her, which is what I want especially from a Marvel rare. I want a Marvel rare to feel like I can get the most out of it by experimenting it with other decks, but it feels very at home in its deck of choice. And it's
you can whistling summon this too.
You also can whistling summoning this guy because he's a 3-drop.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah. It's the logical monster you would try to max on for the deck it's made for. Yeah, for sure. It is your boss monster. Like if Triad was the good pressure, Rusty's the boss monster and he's the Marvel rare. Yeah. So like that makes sense.
Is Rusty plus the resonator you steal from your opponent plus Black Triad, that's a chunk of damage. That's a swing. That's like 19 base damage before the resonator you stole from your opponent.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah. Okay, and we do have a little bit of a zoom in. It's unfortunately a little bit another repeat of the zoom in artwork. But also, this artwork is just better than I use Little Friend, so I also don't mind this little boy getting a zoom in.
Fox, man.
It Fox. So this is Rusty's Fox. We need to. Okay, I don't have a way to put a poll because I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. We're gonna do it the three of us now. This boy needs a name. He cannot be known as Rusty's Fox. So, I need the three of us right now by the time we're done talking about the promo cards to each come up with a potential name for this boy so that we as the community can vote. Because this boy is too precious to not have a name and forever be known as Rusty's Fox. Okay? So we'll get back to that, but I want to read his effect first. So 1 white, 1 colorless, 5/8. Quick cast. You may pay 1 less to play this card from your Shinobi EX area. Enter, draw a card, and then put a card from your Shinobi from your hand face down. Flip this card, face down card face up. Deals 300 damage multiplied by the number of cards in your EX area to something that your opponent controls. This boy is so good. I like him a lot.
Good normal.
He's got a lot of stuff.
What if I got a free 5/8 that drew me a card and then put my Rusty in the EX zone?
Let's do something. Let's be very clear at this. This is going my mono white Imul deck because this is just a cantrip you can play on turn 1.5 with a flute on turn 1.
Yeah, it's true. You can.
That's called value. It's
He's also
worse than
value,
but whatever.
Okay, so I'm thinking of my name too. So Mike, you got to think of your name. We got a couple cards to talk about here.
I got you.
Rusty's Fox.
There's only one name.
Rusty's Fox is very, very good. I like him a lot. Next up, we have Rusty's Claw Technique. Very possessive Rusty is today. 1 white, 1 black, quick cast ninjutsu. Destroy target J/Resonator or addition. You may flip all face down cards in your Shinobi EX area back face down. So those cards that you've been flipping face up, you can recharge them. Mastery Rusty. So it's essentially like Ruin Story, but for Rusty. But for I don't think it's on crack necessarily.
Kills anything, Jeremy.
Sure. It can kill
it.
It can kill anything. Potentially. I would also
Rusty if Rusty hits the board.
Oh sure. Like it
kills.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's necessarily on crack. I just think it's a replacement for what this deck wants to do as Ruin Story was for Sherry, right? The main difference between Ruin Story and this card and the fact that one Ruin Story was infinite Ruin Stories and this is not.
I mean, that's something else entirely, but yes.
Yes. But it's essentially the Ruin Story of the flip face down. This card's very good. I also really like this card. Paul, any thoughts?
This is stoning to death now. Feel old yet?
No. This is Alhamat's.
Yeah, Alhamat's. Yeah. No magic.
Literally, I don't remember the name of that card because it was so irrelevant.
I think it was no magic. I think it's literally no magic.
Is it no magic?
Like stay on the Japanese theme, right? Claw no Jutsu. Rusty's Claw no Jutsu. Like, come on.
I'm pretty sure that's literally just like Rusty's Claw Technique, but not like spoken like a weeb.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay, so I still have to think about what name I want to give to Rusty's Little Fox, but I got to think about that.
I've already won, so it's fine.
You've already won? Wow, I'm impressed. But I do want to talk about these 2 new spoilers, these 2 new promos that got pushed for us. Just to talk about the artwork. First off, we have Teachings of the Moon. So they're obviously very clearly going through the tricolor spells of Dual Cluster. This is absolutely gorgeous. I have a stack of them behind me.
Show them off, Jeremy.
You may have noticed that there was this stack of promo boxes behind me last week.
I wonder what those could be.
I wonder what those could be. I wonder what they could be for. Who knows? Maybe I'm hosting an event in a couple of weeks, maybe. I've seen these in person, and oh my gosh, they are so pretty. They did such a good job on these. Absolutely gorgeous, and any card with Kaguya on it has my stamp of approval. Secondly, the most depressing card I've seen in a very long time.
This one's so sick.
So much so that a former player who hoarded leaf garbs messaged me out of the, I kid you not, I was at my desk and he messaged me all caps, Jeremy, this is not okay, but doesn't say anything else, just that out of the blue. And I'm like, what? And then he sends me the picture of this, and he's like, why would they do this to my elementals? And I'm like, Josh, you can't like start the conversation by just screaming at me that something is not okay.
Yes,
like,
he can. That's
can't.
exactly what he should be doing.
It is a choice.
You can't do that. Gave me a heart attack. But yes, Evil Elemental Uprising getting a promo reprint. Very, very cool. I really like this artwork.
Bonkers. I love Evil Elemental Uprising. I use it in so many jank decks. Like this card in like the Gil, like RDE Gil decks are so fun. You just get rid of it all after milling them. They can't do anything about it, and then you just play the villain the whole rest of the game. It's great.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
This card is very, very cool. Okay, we've reached the end of the promo arts. Paul, I'm gonna make the poll right now, and the community's gonna vote.
You do it.
What is the name of Rust? And we're all gonna agree that from here on out, when we talk about this card, this is the name we will call him. Okay. Foul players
we're going to
foul players are notorious for giving cards whose names we don't like new names. Looking at you, Red Boy. Looking at you, Christy. Looking at you, Captain Hook. Where we just called him Hook for the longest time. We're not always creative, but sometimes
like as many doors, Red Boy.
It's just Dat Boy, Red Boy. Flaming Chariot Red Boy became Dat Boy. I'm not gonna say what Christy became because it's not appropriate.
Banned.
Banhammer. So and then Hook, Captain Hook just became Hook. Okay, Paul, what's your name?
His name is Paul, Jeremy.
What's his name?
You ready for it?
Yeah, I'm about to type it in the votes.
Cone.
Nope, not writing it. Refuse. Okay, you're not allowed to have Cone.
No,
Is it?
It's perfect. Cone.
Like the character from
K-O-N.
Bleach?
Yeah.
I refuse to
You want to
associate.
know why though?
I refuse to associate that little fox with such a terrible character.
Other characters can be named Cone and be better.
That's fair.
I'm saying, like the
Okay.
ceiling is vast on this name.
Cone. Okay, I'll give you Cone. Mike.
Cone.
Clark.
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 I don't.
Go,
Jeremy,
Clark.
there's actually a
Attack.
reason for it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay,
Use tackle, Clark.
go ahead. Give me the reasoning for this name.
Clark Griswold from National Lampoon. His son's Rusty.
The lore.
Clark.
The lore.
Clark with a C. Clark with a C. It's
Clark with
C-L.
CL. Okay. Oh gosh, I was thinking.
So the reason Cone wins, before you even go, Jeremy, is because that's what the fox says.
No,
That's what the fox says. It says Cone.
no. His name is very
That's the
clear.
onomatopoeia.
His name is very clearly Hiya. Hiya.
Concrete.
That's not. I'm doing it. I'm putting in Hiya. Hiya. Think about it, because you can scream it. Because you can scream it when you quick cast him. Because he's got quick cast. You can scream Hiya. Okay, here we go. The community has spoke. I put up the vote. I should have said fire. Fire.
Yeah.
The votes are live. We'll go into the end of this podcast, and then I hereby agree that at the end of this podcast, whatever has the most votes is what I will commit to calling this card for the rest of time. Moving on.
I like Clark. Anyway, continuing.
Let's talk about the twins. You guys ready to talk about the twins?
They're back.
Hey, look, it's Reflect,
Clark's
resident
gonna
of the one. It's resident of the Wanderer's Castle. It's a tag ruler. It's vanilla. Hey, look, it's Refrain, resident of the Wanderer's Castle. It tags with Reflect. It's a vanilla. The twins.
Strong, Jeremy.
It's
Too strong, Jeremy.
It's gonna be okay.
My Reflect Refrain PTSD is coming back.
The twins are back.
To Shackleford.
The twin should have been McLeod. That could have been a good one. I like
What if we
Hiya.
just named him-
Hiya.
What if we just named him Fuck?
No,
I think
not
that'd be
doing that. No. The actual card that came along with Reflected and Refrain was their Cocoon, Wanderer's Castle. 1 green, 1 white. Enter, draw a card, tap to put a magic counter on a J/ruler you control, which is very strange because it has an ability that says if you control a J ruler, banish this card. Weird. Mastery, reflect resident of Wanderer's Castle or refrain residents of Wanderer's Castle.
Okay.
I mean, you had to give him some way to be able to put orbs or magic counters
Oh
on
my
it because
God,
orb is banned.
This is a semi-free cantrip. Anyway, continuing on.
And orb is never coming back.
Yeah. Oh, with the cards that were with the
orb
cards.
is never coming back.
With the cards that we've seen from them, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Orbs cannot
Orb
come
is
back.
never coming back.
Orb is never coming back. Absolutely not. This card's okay overall. A card later gives refrain the ability to prevent your stuff from being banished. I think. I don't know if it. We'll talk about it. If we'll read it when it says it about if it's banished by effects your opponent's controls, or if it's just can't be banished at all for the turn, which means that there might be a way to keep this card around for a turn before you contract. Overall though, like when you flip them, you're going to lose this card, which we'll talk about later, why I think that is absolutely genius design for keeping a leash on these two with some of the cards they've seen later. The idea of these guys being able to set up, because one of the biggest things about, for those of you who don't know the old school or Force of Will, one of the biggest problems with Orb was the fact that once they stuck on field, it didn't matter if you were on Reflect or Refrain side, you got to keep putting counters on, like for free, every turn. And so this card having the text of, it's not a trigger, it's just if you control the J ruler, this card goes away, it's forced, means that once you start using Reflect and Refrain on their front side, you're not going to have this free counters continuously piece, right? You're going to have to find other ways to recharge them, or they are going to gas out, which I think is excellent design for bringing that idea, that feel of old RR into play in a way that feels a lot more healthy and balanced. Really like it. Really like that design space. Unban Orb for like a weekend? No, Clefadonk. I refuse. Did we call you crazy, Vampire I989? I'm sorry if we called you crazy, because you're absolutely right. There they go.
I went crazy. I don't even bat an eye about it.
Okay. Next up, we have Reflect's contracts. Other key thing to note is they have 2 contracts, which is very, very interesting. Memory of Worlds, 1 green. Choose 1. Remove target spell from the game. Its owner may play it from their removed area. Keep in mind that the German version of this card has additional text on this line that says they may play it from their removed area as long as the card is revealed. Meaning that, like, under that language, you don't have to, like, immediately recast it. It's essentially a remand, but it takes it from your hand to the RFG. And then remove target spell that was not played from a hand from the game, so send it back. If you do, you may contract this card with Reflect, Resident of Wanderer's Castle, and it has Mastery, Reflect, Resident of the Wanderer's Castle.
Help me, so help me.
I also don't think you want to Mastery this card most of the time, because you don't want to set yourself up for it being punished by Wind Moonchild. It's actually just almost better for you to just pay the will for it, especially since it's only 1, right?
And how else can you play your Recorder of Worlds with Swiftness from your labor team that you definitely have? I don't know, man. I'm just making shit up now.
Yeah, you definitely are. It's very weird. So this is very interesting here. We've already proven that remands in FOW are very quickly adjusted to. We've already had one drop green. Everybody can use them remands for quite a bit. So I know that there's this like, oh, they're good. Everybody gets a Welser. Technically, everybody already had a Welser already in the form of Persephone, right? And we've proven time and time again that a -1 to put a card back in your opponent's hand is actually not good in FOW. like 9 times out of 10, especially because we have so much stuff that's quick cast. So I'm not like suddenly terrified of this card existing. It essentially also means that this card, you kind of have to use 2 contracts to get to 1 contract. Unless you have other ways to like remove spells from the game, which is very interesting. But it also is note that this dodges Fire Moonchild, which is important. You hope the other tag rulers have 2 contracts as well. Not if they didn't fix the pull rates in time, I don't. Sorry. Like, we'll have to see. I mean, there's a very real chance because of how printing works that community feedback for number of contracts in a box was reached to them, but was not able to be implemented for set 2. Just because of timing of things, right? That the earliest they could actually make an impact of it was set 3. So if it truly is that the Void rulers have 2 contracts and Reflected Refrain have 2 contracts and all of the other 4 rulers have a contract and it's 2 per box, I'm glad we're opening 17 boxes for the channel. Just say that.
All thanks to y'all's support.
Yes, all thanks to y'all's support and our wonderful supporters of the wonderful partners at the channel. We couldn't make it happen without you. So let's talk about Reflect. Let's talk about Reflect, because that's the more important part of this card. This is the Recorder of Worlds. An 8/8 has the ability to pay for the masteries of Reflect because it gains the name Reflect, very important. And as we kind of called, probably a lot of mastery going into Reflect and Refrain. Put a magic counter on a J/ruler you control, choose 1, play this ability only during your turn and only once per turn. Target J/Resonator gets +6/+6, Eternal and Barrier. Draw a card or recover target entity. You know what those remind me a lot of? Those 3 modes? Ascended versions of OG Reflect. Like, it's essentially the exact same kinds of things that OG Reflect used to do, just boosted.
Do be just retrain, refrain, reflect.
Yeah, it is. And we'll talk about that more here in a little bit.
A reflect, retrain, if you will.
Hey! Which with the pointy hat was also Welser in a way. Yeah. Diamond Dude, they intend on having more tag rulers. So as far as we know, that's a good question. As far as we know, in this set, there are 4 Moon Children utilizing, so 4 bond rulers, and then Reflect and Refrain specifically can tag with each other, and then the Void rulers Sect and Noon, which translates to 6 and 9, which is weird. Nice. Also, Noin. Sect and Noin are probably also tag rulers exclusively with each other. So it's bond rulers and tag rulers in this set, but not as like branching out. It's more like these two specifically. So good question. Catalyst, nice name. Can you remove a token to contract? No. Because it has to remove a spell on the chase. Like, it specifically has to remove something like as it's attempting to resolve to be able to contract. You would need to resolve 2 spells, though, to use him, though, usually, right? Correct. Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah, you'd have to or find something else that can remove a spell from the chase from the game and then use the Reflect contract. So you'd have to use 2 contracts to be able to successfully contract Reflect. Or, that's true. Example, your opponent plays Warhorse from their deck. That's something you could also just immediately use Reflect 1 time to get rid of and then contract into Reflect. That is correct. Because it's being played without being played from a hand. I, for one, like Reflect 3.0. I like that it feels very much it feels very like Ascended Reflect Refrain, but also like with the proper design limiting them to not just be, we talked about this in the pre-show, not just, Reflect and Refrain are the best ruler for everyone. regardless of deck. It feels like, oh yeah, we ascended Reflect and Refrain, but made it so they have to be played like in a Reflect and Refrain deck, not just everywhere. Which to me is totally fine because Reflect and Refrain were a very cool ruler. So I dig it. Any thoughts from my compatriots?
Yeah,
No,
I like
thoughts, not
that.
empty. It's
Not only do they have stats, which is great. That's a nice change of pace for Reflect and Refrain. But like this is like the first time they actually have stats as rulers.
Yeah, it's their first time being J rulers.
Um,
Well, like body
yeah,
J
well,
rulers.
together, yeah, as J rulers. I like that Reflect can give you counters on its J ruler side, which is something I did not realize when I first read this card. I thought they both like removed counters
Nope.
to get different effects, but that's not the case, which is amazing. I just like the fact that they are their kind of own win condition and they can like do weird things, which I really do appreciate.
Yeah.
The contracts are also very fascinating.
Yeah.
So like, I'm intrigued.
Mike,
I think
any
one of the biggest-
go ahead.
I think one of the biggest takeaways that I have from this card is that target J Resonator gains +6/+6 Eternal and Barrier until end of turn. That can target itself. So this thing is pretty much unkillable.
Well,
and
remember, it's
just
only
counters
once-
per turn.
It's only once per turn during your turn. So during your opponent's turn, they can just kill it.
Oh, I missed the.
It's
you know what?
because it truly is.
Reading is really like the best.
Because it
card in
truly
this
is,
world.
again, it's like we took the OG Reflect and Refrain and we ascended it, and the errata, the first errata to RR before she
I
got
was
hard
about to say,
banned was that she could
said
only be
OG
used.
Reflect Refrain.
Yeah.
It's not the OG. It's
the errata
errata
OG. Yeah, you're correct. My apologies.
If it was correct, then it would be something a little different.
Quickly to answer a couple questions. Clefadonk, the main event for FowFest, yes, correct. Warhorse and Origins are hard banned for FowFest main events. There is a side event that is called Pony Meta, which is Origins is hard banned, but Horse is only combination banned with Machina and Neverend, which is essentially the, hey, did you want to prove that you have the stupidest horse idea? Play in this side event. Like, that's the idea. But yes, for the main event, Warhorse and Origins are both fully banned. Jeeves, can you just contract against the Shinobi EX area? Technically, yes, if they're casting the card from the Shinobi EX area. If they're using something like Whistling Flute to cheat it out for something from the EX area, or flipping a card from face down to face up to use one of those abilities from the EX area, you would not be able to contract to cancel them. But that is a good point. Let's see. Is there some big payoff that rewards a large amount of magic counters? Probably. We gotta wait and see. Probably they're Marvel rare, in all honesty. So yeah. Let's go on to Refrain. So we speak about Refrain. So Refrain. Oh no. So Refrain's contract: launch of Megiddo. 1 white, quick cast. Choose one. Recover a light or wind J ruler you control. Draw a card. And you may contract this card with Refrain, Resident of Wanderer's Count. So it's just like choose mode to contract. And you can mastery it with Refrain, which makes a lot of sense. This is our least restrictive contract that's ever been printed. Because it's just pay 1 contract.
It's also quick cast contract.
Yeah, it is quick cast contract. Both of the Reflect Refrain contracts are quick cast. Next up, we have the Mover of Worlds. So we have the Recorder of Worlds and the Mover of Worlds. 8/8. This card has Refrain, Resident of the Wanderer's Castle, in addition to its other names. Remove X magic counters from a J/ruler you control. Choose only one. Play this ability only during your opponent's turn and only once per turn. So, hey, this looks very much like old school Reflect Refrain. Destroy X target non-magic stone entity. Cancel target spell with total cost X, or you gain 1,000 life. Now, they've replaced one of these effects with what Reflect used to be able to do. So Refrain's old abilities were bounce a thing, cancel a spell, cancel a chant,
Search for anything.
cancel a chant, or for 4,
yeah.
search for anything. They changed the cancel a chant to cancel any spell. They changed the bounce to a board-wide destruction, and they changed the search to gain X 1,000 life. Still
Which is
only
the biggest slowdown I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, going from search any card to gaining life is a...
Wow.
I talked about this in my TikTok spoilers in a minute, that I was like, I'm really glad this card can't search for anything anymore. Like, good job.
Imagine. Search for X cards and put them to your hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That would be gross. Ultra Magic Stone Golem doesn't... Yeah, that's something that people can do with Warhorse for sure. 2 of today's cards wants you to get... Yeah, there's certainly benefits to stockpiling the magic counters, which we'll see from some of the other cards we're going to talk about, in terms of, like, do you want 10 or 20 magic counters? Like, we haven't seen that yet, but we'll wait. There's probably some kind of, like, really outlandish spell that's like, remove 50 magic counters, win the game, or something like that. I don't... This spell is unchaseable. Like, sure. Let's see. So let me get this straight, because I missed part of this. Reflect and Refrain both have contracts, so we will be running a total of 4 each in the deck. Most likely.
Yeah.
You'll probably be running, like, it'll probably be like 3 Refrain, 4 Reflect, especially because Reflect is like really 4 contracts is 2 contracts. But yeah, probably something close to, at least for like full power competitive Reflect and Refrain. Yeah.
The good news, their contracts, if I'm reading this correctly, let me take a quick look. Yada, 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 blah, 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 forcible information. Both their contracts are rares, not super rares.
Don't listen to that. Because last set, the contracts were printed as rares and only came with the rulers. So don't listen to Mike.
Okay, well, you shouldn't listen to somebody who doesn't play this game right now.
I mean, yeah.
But you should have hope.
Yes, for sure. The community, hopefully they got it fixed, but we'll have to see what happens. These are certainly the most, like, out the gate, looking at Reflected Refrain, they seem to be the most contract hungry of any of the rulers we've seen so far, which is going to be potentially a barrier to them based on if the company was able to make changes to the pull rates by the time Set 2 rolls around, which we'll have to see. Overall, I really like Reflect and Refrain 3.0. I think these are going to be very fun rulers. They feel, like I said before on the pre-show, they feel like properly tuned, ascended RR, right? In a way that forces them to be an RR deck, not just, here's your new insert generic ruler here, which was the main problem with RR back in the day. So, totally down for it. Absolutely can't wait to play it. Honestly think a lot of old school players who like really, because I have heard even from players who've left the game that despite their problems with the game, they still loved RR for like what it was able to do and like how it played. So to tell them like, hey, do you want to play that kind of deck again? Because it just got retrained and re-released, might actually be something that a lot of those players would be interested in, which is very interesting. I participated in a TikTok trend to try to speak to that. I'm old. I'm not.
Jeremy is the true Zoomer that we all
Yes,
need.
I'm the true foul TikTok Zoomer we all needed.
I remember when Patrick Wan used to make really fire Force of Will TikToks. We should come back and do that.
Let's see. Icebite needs to make in the last set a ruler that's allowed to use any contract. Okay, let's talk about more Reflect cards. So we have Unleashing Magical Power, 3 costs, quick cast with no mastery. Thank goodness, make an actual 3-cost spell for what this card does. If there are 1 or more magic counters on a Jade ruler you control, choose 1. Then choose up 1 up to X times again, where X is the combined total number of magic counters on J rulers you control -1. So essentially, do you have 1 counter? You get to pick 1. Do you have 2 counters? You get to pick 2. Do you have 3 counters? You get to pick 3. The biggest difference is it's choose 1 and then choose 1 again, which means that you can actually pick the same mode more than once on this spell. Keep that in mind. Cancel target spell or J activate or automatic ability. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target J/Resonator. Recover a magic stone you control, or destroy target non-magic stone, non-J Resonator entity. Paul, did you not realize that this meant that you could pick the same thing multiple times?
I did not realize that slight nuance.
Yeah. It's the same kind of wording that was on Dark Alice and Gil Lapis, where it was choose one twice. So it's not choose additional, it's choose again. So you get another slate of 4 choices. So if you have, heaven forbid, you have 7 counters on this card, meaning you'll get to choose 7 modes, you can just burn 3 of the modes to just recover the 3 stones that you used to play this card, and also get 4 other modes. This card needed to be a 3-drop. and not have mastery attached to it.
That's correct. I would also like to say that we're starting to see that the company is going to start printing like archetype specific cancels.
Yeah.
That are not useful in anything else, really, right? It's like this card is going to be good, but it's not going to be good outside of Reflect and Refrain.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be atrocious outside of Reflect and Refrain. It's going to be the good card for Reflect and Refrain. Robert Green, remember it's also -1, so you need 2 counters to get to the first choice. That's not correct, because it's always choose 1, and then also choose again X times. So if you have 1 counter, you get to pick 1 mode, and then X will be 0 for that next choice. So if you have 1 counter on it, it will always get you 1 mode. And then at 2 counters, it's 2 choices. 3 counters, it's 3 choices. So it's always equal to the number of magic counters you have in terms of the number of choices you get to make. So keep that in mind.
You are guaranteed 1. You might get extras.
Yep. And the main question remains, Light Wind RR versus Water Fire RR, magic counters versus Passion and Calmness feature match, guys. I mean, that's not even close. Like, Light Fire or Light Wind's Reflected Refrain will take one look at Water Fire Reflected Refrain and say, go home, and the other player will concede immediately.
Yes.
Passion and Calmness was a cute idea. Did not need to be Reflected Refrain. Like, they kind of just, like, shoved Reflect and Refrain's identity onto it. It's not a Reflect and Refrain deck.
You're like, how do we make these characters relevant again? Give them these really weird, not emblem skills.
Yeah, we've done it. Well done.
We did it.
Fun to play. Bad deck.
No passion.
No passion. Only
No
calmness.
calmness.
Only calmness. Next up we have Magical Rabbit. 1 green, 1 wind, 2/2 with quick cast and drain. Pay 1 white or green less to play this card if you have 3 or more combined counters on your J/ruler. Gains +2/+2 for each magic counter on J/rulers you control. Enter, this card deals damage equal to its attack to target J/resonator, which means it also becomes drain. So when you can cast this card for 1, it's an 8/8. So it's a removal spell on a body. This card's a straight 4 of in Reflect and Refrain decks, like automatic.
Yeet. Yeet.
And even in limited, this card's also gonna be good.
It also really makes me want to play flute, or well, we actually have a flute for the deck, but that's kind of spoiling what's coming up. But it makes me want to play a dork to be able to make this thing free, so then it's free removal at some point. Right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Persona Mask Magic time. I mean, it's a 3-drop spell. Pay 1, cancel a 3-drop. I don't hate that. Smart to call this a beast versus a rabbit so that we can't just, like, cheat it out with rabbit trap and stuff like that. Also, yeah, he's adorable.
Most deadly animal on this planet.
I mean, this card's adorable.
The thirst and a lust for blood.
This card's absolutely adorable. Paul, Mike, any thoughts about rabbit? Good old magical rabbit.
Bunny.
Thank you, Mike. Moving on, we have a card archetype I never thought
we do need a name for the rabbit.
It's Magical Rabbit. We have a vote going on. We'll vote for it next time.
That's
anyway.
a description. That is not a name.
Listen here. I got 1 vote running, and I'm trying to get people to vote
What are
for
the
mine.
names of Brandon Bremon's rabbits? I think one of them's Cogdius. That's taken. That's the other one.
Okay, next up we have an archetype that I genuinely never thought we were going to see another printing of its race ever again, which is Golem. Weathered
Golem
Golem.
support. Oh my gosh.
2 green, 6/6 that enters the field rested. You may play this card from your graveyard without paying its cost as long as there are 1 or more magic counters on a J/ruler you control. You may not play more than 1 card named Weathered Golem this way each turn. Thank goodness that it can't just infinitely cycle itself. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh, I'd like to play Sack Altar. I'd like to put a single magic counter on my J ruler, on my ruler. Cool. Weather Golem, sack it. Weather Golem, sack it. Weather Golem, sack it. Weather Golem, sack it. Like, ugh.
Jeremy, calm down. Altar's banned. It would just make Cinderella an infinite board nuke.
Yeah,
So
correct.
fine.
It also would make, like, you know, you get 2 of them in the graveyard and you just get infinite decapitations. So you're just like,
Selective decapitation, more like literally just decapitating golems.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. This card is playable and limited. Moving on.
Sure is.
That's
Hold on.
Paul?
Hold on. You know what I sense?
No.
An Adam Brawley sacrifice.
Paul, you don't play my heart like this.
I don't actually hate that. I don't actually hate that idea. For like an incarnate deck, just having like a 1 free sack outlet every single turn. I mean, that's what he's designed for.
Gives you will.
Like, very clearly, he's designed to kind of play into that idea, for sure.
Ooh,
I don't hate that.
We have that 2-drop blue resonator that drops a thing into your graveyard, the Envoy of Kronos or whatever.
Mhm.
It's a 2-drop, right? I think it's a 2-drop.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-drop.
It was in one of the Nouveau sets.
Yeah, it's a blue one that just like send a card from your deck to the
So
graveyard.
you put a counter on it, get this thing to the graveyard, bring it back, Adam Brawley, and then you do nothing because that's it. That's the extent of your play.
Well, you draw a card, produce a will off of it, so keep
and that's
going.
the extent of your play, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
it's just Treeborn Frog. It's just Treeborn Frog.
It's just Treeborn Frog.
Oh, but hear me out. Okay, hear me out. You Kronos' Envoy the Golem,
Mm-hmm.
and then while you're searching for the Golem, you play the horse
That
to
we
give
have
the
banned?
Envoy swiftness.
Okay, moving on. Sorry.
Excellent.
Well named. Next up we have Wings of Refrain. 1 white quick cast. This turn, cards in your hand cannot be discarded by spells or abilities your opponent controls, and resonators you can't control cannot be banished by spells or abilities your opponent controls. Draw a card. If the combined number of magic counters on your J/rulers you control is 7 or more, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn, and you can't lose the game this turn until the end of this turn. There's the protection layout. I mean, like, RR Fog, anyone? Like, RR counters Turbo Fog? Anyone? Calling Zach Hold on, sorry, hold on. Calling Zach Tufford. A new Turbo Fog outlet has just been created into the Force of Will universe. Calling Zach Tufford. Turbo Fog is now a playable deck in Force of Will once again. Turbo Fog is here.
Zach Tufford is unavailable right now. Please leave a message.
I talked to Zach Tufford about Force of Will earlier today.
Because there's a fog release. Nice.
That's true. That's true, Toby. The Golem for Fox is a free wind resonator every single turn for Fox. Yep, that's also very true.
Also with Pharesia, deal 10 damage, bring it back because you have a reflect refrain.
There are uses for Weathered Golem for sure. As like a tech, as like a tech one of. There's like some uses for it.
It ain't good.
But in limited, it's certainly better than that.
I think it's an RR1 card.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
Yeah, I would also agree that it's an RR1 kind of
Hey,
card.
we could do the Inferno combo with 0 life again. Thanks, Rustin.
That's true. You can Inferno if you get to 7 counters. Yes, you can play RR white green.
This card is literally just we have Belial at home. Belial at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, for sure. I like this card.
I've got a Lich post to make.
Yeah, there we go. I was about to say that's a meme we can do. I
think this card has applications for sideboards as well.
I also agree.
Especially when you're like, I have eternal things, right? Like super eternal.
Yeah,
you can't get rid of me.
Yeah,
like, I am on the board. Like, you are not getting rid of me.
Yeah,
card's good.
And it's
also gonna be a really good sideboard card against Pink Spider.
Yes, for sure as well. Just in general for like any white deck against Pink Spider, because it's that part of it is just like you get it constantly.
It's a 1-drop white chant.
What white
You know what I'm
excels at for the sideboard? Look at that.
Wow.
Charlotte, are you talking about Charlotte?
Charlotte supports here.
Also, it's just a beautiful card, like absolutely gorgeous
Oh
card.
my gosh. The art of these cards in particular is like probably some of the best I've seen in a while.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I'm jazzed about these.
Next up, we have the Phoenix of Megiddo. Oh, it is our first. This is a super rare. So 3 white, 0/0 with flying and drain. Gains +4/+4 for each magic counter on J/rulers you control. Whenever a J ruler is put into the field by a contract chant you control, you may put this card from your graveyard into the field. So it comes along with the J ruler. Pay 1 white, discard this card, put a magic counter on a J/ruler you control. So there's some of your instant speed counter generation. And then it just chills in the graveyard for when you need it. Keep in mind, there goes Mike. Keep in mind that this does not say you can only put one of this into the field at once. So the idea of like, I've dumped 3 magic counters into the graveyard. Now I'm going to contract Reflect. Reflect is going to bring along 3 12/12 flying drain bodies with him. Like, oh yeah, this is a super rare. We have Grave Hate, like, so there is counterplay to it, right? So you don't like just bank on this thing being insane, but the fact that again it's a will sink that has value later that plays to the strategy of the deck. Overall, a very good super rare. Feels like a super.
This card is fantastic for so many older decks. Not to mention the old RR for like the least of it, right? Just like, cool, it's here. I have a giant bird thing that's also a beast, which I can give it swiftness.
It's only a J. It's only a J ruler put into the field by a contract chant you control. So this would, so it doesn't work with old school RR. Paul, you gotta read, man.
I didn't see the contract piece.
You gotta read.
Okay, well, dreams crushed. Dreams crushed. Never mind. Just ignore me.
Okay. Moving on to the next card. Our last card of the night. We have the young wizard. This guy is adorable. I love him. 1 white, 2/2 entered. Put a magic counter on a J/ruler you control. Tap, produce 1 white. Just a little dork. Just a little mana dork.
A little guy. Also, the white mage of the set.
Yeah.
We got the ninja. Now we got the white mage.
He's so adorable.
Kirag is a magic counter.
Yeah. And then he has that extra white. So then go to your turn, use him, tap him, discard Phoenix. I got 2 magic counters. Hey,
look at that.
But he's a 2/2, so it's like super easy to
go.
go.
I made the Brad post.
Yeah, okay.
I can't tell if I play this card over, I just play flute for the stats.
Yeah, I think you probably play flute.
Yeah. I mean, but this card is going to be good, especially in limited.
You wouldn't
extra will.
You wouldn't hit a kid, would you? You wouldn't hit a kid with glasses, would you? You hit a kid
no,
with
I just
glasses.
Use my rockets and just
Mana dork in white.
Rocket cannons.
Vampire 999. Not our first white mana dork. Actually, our 3rd.
We literally.
Acolyte of the Sun. No, our 4th. I apologize. We've had one before. We had the Valkyrie. That was a swiftness mana dork. From
the
Dual
Kara.
Class. Kara. Yep. This is our 4th white mana dork.
Speaking, Jim Mallet Panda was sort of
technically, yeah. Our fifth white mana dork.
That's how many.
We've had 5 white mana dorks. That's almost more mana dorks than green has had.
I think it is more mana dorks than green has. I think they just reprinted Elvish Priest and Sacred Elf so many times that it just feels like...
Sacred Elf, Elvish Priest, Moonbreeze Elf.
Kinda. It only produced Moon.
That's it. Oh, Melfi.
Feed Sing.
Do we consider those mana dorks the 3?
If we consider Kara a mana dork, then we have to consider Melfi a mana dork.
Okay, so we'll take her out of the next time.
Okay.
I don't count Moonbreeze Elf.
I hope the origin ban goes through because of this card. Yeah. Yeah, white gets a white mana dork pretty much every other year. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the green fairy as well. Also another mana dork. That's true. Overall, I'm very happy with all these cards. These are very, very cool. My big takeaway from this week and seeing the RR stuff is twofold. One, I really want to see. I really, really hope that Origins gets a full ban. Just like out of the way. Just get it out of the way. And two, these sets more. This set so much more than set one makes me feel like it's like all of these rulers are going to feel very, very different. Which is fun because it makes it more fun to build. It makes it more fun to experience more of the set. It makes it more fun to buy more of the set because the decks that you're going to build out of buying more product are going to feel distinctly unique from each other. As opposed to this past set, which was a good introduction to the idea of the bond rulers, but all of the decks kind of feel kind of samey. They don't feel like unique in that concept. They're all just like plug and play addition, play mastery spells, do things. It's all kind of just the same, just like different colors attached to them. These rulers,
all the variety of that deck came from the mastery spells, but also the contracts. And so if you take out the contracts, which nobody played except for like Aristellas and Asukas.
Yeah. So this set feels more. The decks are going to truly feel much more characteristically and play style wise unique from each other, which is very exciting to me. I'm hyped. Will be a crazy diverse meta, yeah, because every deck's going to be doing something wildly different. Yeah, a lot of uniqueness coming, and we haven't even seen Goop Boy, we haven't seen Old Man, we haven't seen the Void Rulers, we haven't seen the new Dragonoid chick. Like, I got a lot of stuff coming. It's gonna be very, very interesting. Any closing thoughts before I close this poll that Paul very clearly won, and now this fox is going to be named Cone?
Oh man, I can't believe Clark lost.
I tied you with Hiya.
Yeah.
I can't believe I tied you with Hiya. Everyone change your vote.
No. Change to Clark if you do.
Abandon
Just
Clark
and
and
goes 100% 0 for everyone else. Just whoosh.
Any closing thoughts for tonight?
No thoughts. Head empty, dude. Head empty. Head as empty as the text boxes on the ruler's side of Reflecting Refrain.
Hey-o.
So not totally empty. That's good to know.
My brain's got
So you
tagged
get the
with
tag
like every
ready.
other mic in the world, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Tag Cheetos.
Well, the vote is concluded. Officially, this fox is now named Cone for all intents and purposes here on Ruler School. Very much looking forward to seeing what the rest of the rulers is. If you want to see, I will say this: if you want to see my like day of quick off the cuff thoughts for each of these spoilers as they're released, you can check out our shorts here on YouTube. I've actually been posting spoilers in a minute over on TikTok and then downloading those and posting them here as shorts. So you can go check us out or give us a follow over on TikTok. We're just Ruler School TCG. But as always, you can tune in for everything else this week. There is not going to be a feature match this week because we just weren't able to get a good recording in for this week that we felt was like up to par. But we are working on a couple of other pieces, and we are also working on a Falchion profile that I like to call Waifus and Weapons that we're going to try to premiere next week. It is a very different take on Justice than you've seen from anything else so far. It's very, very fun. Hope to give you that. And then, yeah, this Wednesday, we're going to be posting a video from Paul talking about his like organizational stuff. So more of a like dorm tour kind of video here over at Ruler School, talking about how Paul keeps his
Whoa. I'm gonna sell this video right now. Because I just had this conversation with somebody who is like, I don't know where to go for all my cards because I have them all in binders or I have them all in boxes. And you know what? The game's been around for going on 9 years now.
10 years.
So how are you going to organize your stuff to be able to build decks at any time you want while also keeping your collection safe and organized so you can find any card you want at any given time? I'm going to tell you that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So check it out.
It's going to be a good video. And then next week we'll have our last feature batch before FowFest. Again, if you haven't already considered pre-registering for that, go ahead and check the link in the description. You can also check the other link in the description to get all the information about that. It is going to be an absolutely insane time. Like, oh, it's going to be so good. Can't wait to see you all there. And for the rest of you, hope to see you in the stream. We are going to go ahead and make the stream chat for FowFest open to everyone. So even if you are not a member, you will be able to engage in the chat that day. So we want that chat flooded for people hanging out with us there. But until next time, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined, as always, by empty-headed Mike Rants.
No thoughts. Brain int.
And full-headed Paul Reisman. Saying,
Onchan victory.
said, class dismissed. Have a good night, everybody.